Assalamualaikum and a very good day to my lecturer and my fellow friends. Today, me and my groupmates are going to present our findings. Our theme is keeping batik in style. Every culture has its own essences and aspects that really shape the whole tradition of a certain demographic. And as for batik, it represents a few countries such as Malaysia, Indonesia and Thailand. Batik is a traditional art that has been implemented into designing an outfit since the 90s. But unfortunately, batik culture is in the urge of dying. It's very rare to see someone wearing it in this modern era. With that being said, we would like to share with everyone a brief history of how batik was invented, what kind of batik are available, and the initiative to preserve batik to be part of the cultural identity in this current time. This is Keeping Batik in Style. History of batik. Batik is an art form that is described to be creating patterns through the process of using wax to create outlines and allow color or dyes to pass through on non-wax covered areas. The word batik derived from the Javanese word amba, which translates to write, and titik, which translates to dot. Batik was first verified within the Indonesia archipelago in the period of the Dutch colonization. Batik was also considered a luxury item due to the fact it was often worn by the royal family or those of aristocracy. Batik is a centuries-old art form that has been passed down through the generations. Indonesia, the Middle East, Thailand, Africa, Malaysia, India, China, and the Philippines practice it. Although the exact origin of batik is unknown, it is widely used on the Indonesian island of Java. It is thought that when batik was first practiced in Java, it was only available to royal families and wealthy individuals. The origin of batik in Malaysia are obscure. However, the states of Kelantan and Terengganu are recognized as the cradle where batik grew in Malaysia. Although evidence of batik activity can only be traced to the 18th century, it is believed that batik goes back to an early period owing to the influence of China, India and Java. The sultans were mainly responsible for the growth of batik in these two states. They encouraged experimentation of technique in mass production and helped to expand the industry. Several techniques were developed to improve the quality of batik produced in these states. Malaysian batik was in demand in Burma, Sarawak and Brunei where it was exported. The industry suffered a big blow with the Japanese occupation of 1942 until 1945 when many factories were closed down. However, the Japanese influence can be seen in the emergence of batik called hokokai that had strong Japanese motif and bright colors. Upon achieving independence in 1957, Malaysia looked to batik to create a national identity. It became the official national attire for formal occasion. By the 1990s, batik had lost its magic. It was only in 2003 when it began to bounce back with renewed vitality. The untiring efforts of Datin Paduka Seri Endon Mahmud, wife of the Prime Minister Datuk Seri Abdullah Ahmad Badawi, gave batik back its dignity and its national status. She championed the craft by encouraging young designers to use their activity to explore new ways of using batik. Characteristic of Malaysian batik. Although the origins of batik in Malaysia may be traced back to Indonesia around 100 years ago, Malaysian batik has acquired its own distinctive style through time. The following are some noticeable differences. Technique. When sketching batik on a frame, Malaysian batik artists stand up Without using any frame support, our Indonesian colleague sits and draws the batik. Indonesian batik is more elaborate with smaller dots used to create a line for the motifs, which are written with their hands underneath, whereas Malaysian batik is more straightforward. And designs, Malaysian batik is dominated by huge floral themes, but Indonesian batik is more detailed and religiously motivated. Because Islamic beliefs restrict animal imagery and other representations that are against Sharia as decoration. Malaysian batik showing humans or animals is rare. Geometrical designs like spirals are also popular in Malaysia batik. Leaves, flowers, and abstracts are among the most popular motifs employed by batik artists. Color. Malaysian batik colors are vibrant. Indonesian ones are dark and uses a lot of brown.
In Malaysia, there are three forms of batik: block printed, hand-drawn, and screen-printed batik. These variations differ in terms of manufacturing procedures, motif, and aesthetic expression, and are typically classified by the tool used. Batik block or block printing batik. One of the first types of batik was block printed batik. It's a technique that involves carving patterns into block, which is then dipped in wax and stamped into fabric. Previously, the blocks were fashioned of potato, but they quickly discovered that the potato would decay after a few days. Then they tried utilizing wood, but that didn't work either because the wood would eventually crack after a few uses. Finally, they decided on zinc or copper as the block, which is still in use today. It would take a month to complete the block in the desired design. Batik lukis or hand-drawn batik. Also known as batik canting, hand-drawn batik is where the hot wax used in a pen-like tool of brass called canting is drawn into the fabric with a desired pattern. The artist must have a steady hand, as one mistake will be very difficult to remove. After the pattern is drawn and the wax has dried, the artist then colors in. In Java, the pattern was traced on both sides before the fabric was soaked in the dye. The prepared and measured out fabric is stretched over a metal or wooden frame. The pattern is traced with a soft pencil. The canting is filled with 2/3 with liquid wax, and the utensil is held at an angle against the cloth. The artist has to be extremely precise and careful to obtain a smooth flow of wax. The utensils will have to be dipped frequently into the wax pot to keep the optimal temperature. Batik screen or screen printing. The use of stencils was introduced in 1939 in Kelantan by Muhammad Yusuf bin Haji Cik Su and Muhammad Daud bin Haji Cik Su. This type of batik is faster and easier to do, but one must have a keen eye so that the patterns match. The designs begin as a printed vector transferred onto a plastic film. The artisans then take an organza screen built by hand, soak it in an emulsion, and bring it into the darkroom where a focus light will transfer the design onto the screen, a process likened to developing film. Using a trade secret recipe of cool wax, trained artisans will swipe the screen back and forth. It is a laborious group effort that's often done by 3 to 4 artisans. The batik screen printed fabric is then left overnight to dry, sometimes even a day or two longer depending on the motif. The beauty is in this process of uncovering what was there to begin with.
Actions of preservation. So as we know, batik is a very crucial part of our Malaysian culture, and it has existed many years now, and it still exists in our current years. However, we don't know that actually batik is a dying art form because of our heavy influence on westernization. We tend to follow more of European or American cultures, and we just forget that batik exists, our tarian exists, etc., etc. So it's also because we don't really preserve it well. We tend to forget, as I previously mentioned, and it involves older generations not wanting to pass the knowledge of how to make batik or the general appreciation for batik. They don't pass that on to their younger or the next generation itself, which just completely stops why we should even appreciate batik itself. There's also ways where maybe also in like the campaigns and events I mentioned previously, where you could also host or make animations. These animations, they could promote why it's so beautiful and why it's a very important cultural in our roots. In modern fashion, there were multiple local fashion designers who collaborated with local batik makers to create fashionable apparel. The first one being Bahati and Jadi Batik. Bahati is a modern fashion label that draws inspiration from Malaysian traditions and Mother Nature. It stands for preserving Malaysian art and culture by using traditional techniques and bringing new patterns that are relevant to today's fashion. Bahati and Jadi Batik is a collaboration of the fashion brand with the pioneer of the Malaysia batik industry. With 44 years of history and counting, Jadi Batik paved the way for Bahati to expand their horizons in the Malaysian batik art form via creativity and modernity. They designed Bahati's characteristic B monogram and the camel print, which is the peta print that represents the map of Malaysia, and batik block and chanting for their debut collection, taking global fashion trends as inspiration. The second example being Batik Boutique. Batik Boutique is a multi-award winning social enterprise that aims to break Malaysia's poverty cycle. They work with craftsmen from underserved communities to create fair fashion, home products, and accessories using batik, which is a traditional Malaysian fabric as well. They have pledged to improve the lives of marginalized people by providing employment opportunities, stable incomes, and financial independence skills. Here's an excerpt from an interview with Amy Blair, who is the founder of Batik Boutique.
But I'll tell you, the first time I went to a village was in Terengganu. The first time I asked a taxi driver at the time, because there was no Waze and no Grab, to take me to where this pretty piece of fabric was made. And he dropped me off at a rice paddy and pointed out into the field and said, "Out there." And I literally walked across the rice paddy with my husband and 2 children at the time and went knock, knock, knock on the door. And as soon as they opened the door, it was like this amazing other world opened up. And I saw these people, these men from villages just like, blocking away and sweating. And I saw these women just painting. And when I understood the complexity and the time and the skill that goes into it, that forever changed my impression of batik. It's really stunning, and I think the whole world should get to experience it.
Until today, Batik Boutique has worked with more than 200 craftsmen and influenced the lives of over 1,400 people in the community. Next, we have Dato Tom Abang Saufi. Dato Tom Abang Saufi is a famous Malaysian fashion designer who is well known for her efforts to promote the vibrant batik tradition. She's been a designer for almost 35 years. Her Tas line has never shied away from employing bright colors to depict the clash of modern fashion and old cultures, and she incorporates creative features throughout all of her creations. Tom Abang Saufi had a collaboration with Baskin-Robbins. They created this limited time quote-unquote Bunkus of Happiness, featuring 3 specially designed Baskin-Robbins inspired wraps that incorporated modern elements with traditional classiness. The 3 wraps that she designed for Baskin-Robbins included the gentle ketupat wrap, sweet ice cream wrap, and vibrant waffle wrap. They are all made from high-quality silk mixed fabric. The wraps are perfect for gifting and can be reused in many different ways, including using them as scarves or tudongs, which is known as the Muslim head scarves. The Bunkus of Happiness wrap was designed by Dato' Tom Abang Saufi specifically, especially for Hari Raya. Thus, the wrap integrates both the Malays tradition and Baskin-Robbins culture. Dato' Tom uses various colors to represent the woven palm leaf, waffle, and ice cream to bring out the gentleness in it. Dato' Tom uses Baskin-Robbins signature colors as well to bring out the vibrant in the wrap, while the ice cream wrap features the sugary sweet ice cream motifs, which created a batik-like pattern. So what were some of the things that Malaysia did to preserve batik? Animation-wise, a local duo named Irwan and Heidi created an animation called Batik Girl. Batik Girl is an award-winning 2D animated short film that tells the story about an orphan who loves the craft of batik. In 17 countries worldwide, the film has been shown in 26 film festivals. It also won the Best Short Animated Film at Festival de Largos in Chile and was the honorable mention in Audience Favorites Award at the Florida Animation Festival. It had also bagged a gold medal in the regional category at the 20th TGCon 6 Asia in Japan. Irwana and Heidi supposedly got the idea when attending a children's book fair in Italy in the year 2017. They came upon an old couple who were smitten with a batik top tablecloth and were absolutely amazed by it. This sparked the idea for Batik Girl. To completely integrate the batik art into the animated feature, the team had to study it throughout the production process. The story for Batik Girl, on the other hand, took up about 8 months of production and 4 months to complete the animation, which in the end became worth it.
Kuala Lumpur International Batik Convention and Exhibition. The Kuala Lumpur International Batik Convention, or KLIB Convention, is intended to be an iconic event that presents to the globe the various facets of batik, art and craft, technique and technology, marketing and business. KLIB is one of the activities organized as part of the Malaysia Batik Crafted for the World program. This campaign, which began in September 2003, was patronized by Tun and Don Mahmud. In essence, the convention will demonstrate the convergence of traditional and contemporary aesthetics in batik and art and craft, cutting-edge technology, and market-driven business strategies for the entire world to see and share. During the KLIB held in Kuala Lumpur in December 2005, the idea to establish the World Batik Council was brought up, and 15 countries gave full support to its formation. The World Batik Council. The World Batik Council is on a global mission to expand the use of batik beyond Asian borders in order to create international ties among batik designers, inventors, producers, researchers, and lovers. The groundwork has been laid for a coordinated international marketing of the batik craft and industry. This joint endeavor is being led by the World Batik Council, which is situated in Malaysia. The Council's objectives are as follows: to create an international network of batik enthusiasts and practitioners, to promote closer ties between batik producing countries around the world, to establish a global forum for the batik craft and industry to share information, opinions, and ideas, as well as to discuss new trends and challenges, to improve the craft and industry by sharing techniques, innovative technology, research input, and marketing strategies.
It's very crucial for us as the heir to our ancestors to bring along our tradition with us to betterment. It serves us as a cultural identity, emphasizing on our roots and history as Malaysians, creating a long range of history through centuries. It brings us together as one race and reminds us where we came from. We could say batik is one of the most loved and innovative essence of our culture in Malaysia, as we can see how a few groups of people would modernize such traditional art so that it could partake in the modern world of art, having it implemented on various kinds of media. Not just locals, even foreigners are often astonished with the art of the previous generation that we brought along with us. So it is much more important for us to claim our art, claim our identity, and claim our history. On behalf of my team, we would like to thank you for watching this video. We hope to enlighten you with enough knowledge on batik. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That's all from us on Keeping Batik in Style.